The European Data Protection Board, EDPB, has provided comprehensive guidelines to help organizations identify their lead supervisory authority under the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR. These guidelines, known as EDPB Guidelines 8/2022, address the complexities that arise when determining regulatory oversight for cross-border processing of personal data within the EU and EEA. This article delves into the guidelines, summarizing their key aspects, methodologies for identifying the LSA, and implications for controllers and processors. Background. The GDPR established the concept of an lead supervisory authority, LSA, to simplify the regulatory landscape for organizations that process data across EU and EEA member states. The LSA is primarily responsible for overseeing the organization's compliance with GDPR, serving as a single point of contact for both data protection issues and cross-border data processing activities. Objectives of the guidelines. EDPB Guidelines 8/2022 aim to clarify the criteria for identifying the LSA, particularly in complex or ambiguous cases. Provide a structured approach for organizations to determine their main establishment or the relevant establishment when the main establishment is not clear. Enhance the consistency and effectiveness of GDPR enforcement across member states. Key concepts and definitions. Cross-border processing. The guidelines define cross-border processing as data processing that occurs in multiple member states or affects data subjects in more than one member state. The notion of substantially affects is crucial, considering the impact of processing on individuals across borders. Main establishment. Identifying the main establishment is pivotal for determining the LSA. For controllers, this is typically the place of central administration in the EU, unless decisions on data processing purposes and means are made in another establishment, in which case that establishment is considered the main establishment. Steps to identify the lead supervisory authority. Identify the main establishment for controllers. The guidelines set forth criteria for determining a controller's main establishment, focusing on where the decisions regarding the purposes and means of processing are made and implemented. Considerations for processors. Similar principles apply to processors, with the main establishment being the location of central administration in the EU or, if there is no central administration, the place where the main processing activities occur. Joint controllership. In situations of joint controllership, each controller may have its own LSA based on its main establishment. The guidelines clarify that joint controllers cannot designate a common main establishment for the purposes of determining the LSA. Borderline cases. The document provides guidance for complex scenarios where identifying the main establishment or decision-making center is challenging, emphasizing that the GDPR does not permit forum shopping. Practical implications for organizations. Organizations must undertake a detailed assessment of their data processing activities and corporate structure to accurately identify their LSA. This involves mapping out where decisions on data processing are made, understanding the implications of joint controllership arrangements, and being prepared to substantiate the determination of the main establishment to supervisory authorities. Conclusion. EDPB Guidelines 8/2022 play a vital role in guiding organizations through the intricacies of GDPR compliance, particularly in the context of cross-border data processing. By providing a clear framework for identifying the LSA, the guidelines not only aid organizations in navigating the regulatory landscape but also contribute to the harmonized enforcement of data protection laws across the EU and EEA.